Have you ever noticed how some women are incredibly quiet on the surface? They speak softly, they don't overexpress, and they just carry themselves with a calm, normal demeanor. Yet, without saying a single word, they completely occupy your mind. That's exactly where the game begins. Most guys make the mistake of trying to analyze a girl's words, but the real story isn't in what she says. The truth lies in her behavior, her silence, her distance, and how quickly she can shift gears. Honestly, half the time, she might not even understand why she's doing it herself. The subconscious mind always moves faster than logic. That's why a girl might say one thing but feel something entirely different. If you only focus on her words, you're going to stay confused. Because female psychology doesn't move in a straight line. It explains why some guys can effortlessly spark attraction without relying on looks, while others have everything on paper but still get ignored. Attraction isn't built in the eyes, it's built in the mind, and the mind rarely cares about logic. We are naturally drawn to what we can't fully figure out. Because mystery will always be more powerful than certainty. This brings us to the first real secret. Emotional gravity pulls toward unavailability. Now, I don't mean women like bad behavior or toxicity. Not at all. It's just a fundamental law of human nature that our brains value what isn't easily handed to us. If a guy is replying within seconds, giving non-stop attention and tolerating every single mood swing, his value quietly drops because the brain starts treating him as a guarantee. But the moment that constant stream of attention dips, she notices. She starts wondering, is everything okay? Why did he change? That tiny crack of uncertainty is exactly where emotional attachment begins to grow. The brain forgets the guy who chased too hard, but it obsesses over the one who left a question mark, because confusion deepens memory. I'm not talking about playing childish mind games here. The most attractive kind of unavailability is completely natural. It happens when a man is genuinely locked into his own life, his goals, and his purpose. When you aren't wrapping your entire existence around a girl, you project a self-worth that is magnetic. The second secret runs even deeper. Women rarely show the full depth of their emotions to the person they actually like the most. It sounds completely backward, but where emotions run deep, fear runs deeper. It's the fear of rejection, the fear of looking weak, and the terror of losing control. To protect themselves, they will often act incredibly casual, or even distant around the guy they are losing sleep over. They might text less, pull back, and leave the guy thinking she's completely lost interest. But you have to understand that not all distance means dislike. Sometimes, distance is a shield against vulnerability. Female psychology prioritizes emotional safety above almost everything else. Instead of being direct, she will observe you. She'll notice the small shifts in your mood, remember the tiny details, and watch how you move. But she won't openly admit it until she knows it's 100% safe to drop her mask. Then we hit a dangerous territory, the addiction to attention. We all crave validation, but emotional attention plays a massive role in how connection is formed. When someone gets used to daily compliments, instant replies, and constant reassurance, their brain chemistry adapts to that pattern. Eventually, they aren't missing the person. They are missing the dopamine hit that the person provided. This is where so many guys miscalculate. They assume a girl is attached to them, when she's actually just hooked on the emotional high of their attention. When that supply suddenly stops, withdrawal kicks in, creating a powerful wave of anxiety and longing. The human mind remembers intensity far longer than it remembers peace, which is why people often find themselves pulled back toward relationships that weren't even healthy, simply because the emotional highs were so vivid. This ties directly into the power of silence. Most people think connection is built through talking, but true comfort is built in the quiet moments. When a girl can sit with you in total, unforced silence, it means she feels mentally safe. She doesn't feel the need to perform or prove anything. On the flip side, silence can also be a devastating weapon. When a woman is deeply hurt, she often stops arguing entirely. She just goes quiet. Words are easy to fight, but silence is agonizing to decipher, and that sudden withdrawal of warmth can make a guy feel completely unanchored. It's a subtle shift. Shorter replies, less effort, zero emotional investment that forces the other person to confront the weight of what they're losing. What's really happening behind the scenes is often a form of subconscious emotional testing. Women don't usually do this maliciously. It's an instinctual vetting process. Her mind is watching to see how you handle pressure. If she pulls back a little, do you become desperate? If her mood shifts, do you lose your temper or your confidence? If she creates space, do you forget your own value and start begging? The female mind is hardwired to look for stability, not just romance. If a man crumbles, overreacts, or loses his emotional center at the first sign of friction, the attraction evaporates. True confidence isn't about being the loudest or best-looking guy in the room, it's about emotional self-control. A man who can govern his own emotions is the only man who can make a woman feel safe enough to share hers. You also have to recognize how jealousy actually functions. People love to dismiss jealousy as pure insecurity, but it's often a loud signal of emotional investment. The moment a girl starts caring, her brain naturally begins to evaluate the environment. She'll notice who you talk to, who you give your energy to, and who you're comfortable around. But again, don't expect her to hand you a straight answer. She'll likely show it through a sudden shift in temperature, becoming slightly cold, irritable, or distant for no apparent reason. If you're just reading her words, you'll be completely lost. But if you read her energy, the picture becomes crystal clear. This is why maintaining an element of mystery is so vital. Laying out your entire life story, your deepest insecurities, and 100% of your availability on day one doesn't build a bond. It kills curiosity. The human mind loves the thrill of discovery. When a man has depth, a quiet focus, and a world of his own, it naturally invites her to want to know more. Let me be clear, this isn't about being fake. Women have an incredibly sharp intuition, and if they catch even a whiff of manipulation or calculated mind games, trust is ruined instantly. The real secret is authentic self-containment. When you are no longer starved for validation, your behavior naturally becomes attractive, because emotional stability is incredibly rare today. Look at how most relationships unravel. A guy starts off completely fine, but as he falls harder, he becomes emotionally dependent. His entire mood hinges on how fast she texts back. If she's busy, he overthinks. If she talks to someone else, he panics. Suddenly, his energy shifts from relaxed to suffocating. The romance turns into pressure, and the attraction dies. It's only when he steps back, reclaims his focus, and stops treating her like his sole source of happiness that the dynamic fixes itself. People are always drawn to stable, centered energy. At the end of the day, people aren't as complicated as they seem. It's our emotions that are messy. We all want to be understood and felt, but we have different ways of hiding it. If you only listen to what people say, you'll always be steps behind. You have to learn to read behavior and energy. The most dangerous bond isn't love, it's routine. When you become a safe haven in someone's chaotic world, you become a permanent part of their psychological landscape. Women aren't searching for a flawless, perfect man. They are looking for a sanctuary, a place where they can drop the mask, stop proving themselves, and feel entirely safe. When you build that stability within yourself, you don't just figure out female psychology, you master the art of human connection.